Okay, hey, Miss Dana, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay.
How far did you walk the dog?
I walked for about 2 hours.
How far down?
I leave my house, Highway 101 to Gearhart Loop, all the way Pacific, all the way the Ridge Path, down to Wellington, around the Fire Road, up there on the dunes, all the way down to the Signal Park, down First Street, back to the City Hall, around the Farmer Gardens.
It's like 4 miles.
No, more than that. Is it? I don't know.
How often do you do that?
I would like to do it every day, but I can't really do it on the weekends.
Shell's lost her dog out. Or you did.
She jumped, yeah. Jumped all the way down. But I'm gonna be able to do it when the weather gets nice.
Yeah.
Cause I can do it in the morning, cause I can hopefully leave at like 5 in the morning,
So ambitious. Good night.
but it has to be light. It's not light.
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
5 seconds. Today, the 19th,
Yes.
Recording in progress.
work session for March 19th, 2024 is now in session. All right, first off, we were going to talk about having a work session at the beginning prior to our city council meeting so we can go over what's on the agenda. Any input from anyone?
Explain that.
Okay, so let's say we've got an RFP.
Right.
And we need to discuss it.
Mhm.
We can discuss it in the work session. That way our time at the city council meeting is not taken up with all the discussion that could happen in a work session. So we don't have to go as late.
Would we start a half an hour early or would we start on time?
Are you talking?
The work session, would that start a half an hour early?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, it would not start at 7 o'clock.
okay. Thank you.
Does anyone have any?
That was just that was something that I suggested because quite a few other cities do it. I don't know if that would be better for our staff or not, but I presume it would because, you know, they have to be here anyway. So we just get all of our talking out of the way and then perhaps our actual meetings can be a little bit shorter. And also sometimes when citizens have questions or they want to ask us stuff, they want to know what we're thinking. And that's the time, you know, they would already know that if we've already had the discussion before we go into the meeting. So it was just a suggestion. And also, I don't know if we would want to do that instead of having work sessions throughout the year or in addition to, but it seems like we've been having a lot of meetings lately, and I know how hard that is on staff.
Okay. Well, Chad, you're going to check with staff and see if that is agreeable with them?
Yeah, I think so. I think that initially our thoughts are, or some of our thoughts, I haven't talked to everybody, is that would work. I think it might make things a little bit more efficient, communication a little bit better, meetings go a little bit more smoothly. So I think it's something that we could give it a shot, see if we like it, and continue on if we do.
Okay.
Don't if we don't.
And I want to say that this is not going to stop us from having the occasional work session prior to the city council meeting, if we have something that needs to be worked on. And since we can't make a decision during a work session, we'll just leave it at that and we will, if anyone's got anything I don't want to say against. If anyone has any angst about it, let me know now. And maybe we can talk this out.
So we can't decide now whether to have a work session prior to the next meeting?
Well, we're not allowed to make decisions, but we can all say that, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and then we can just write that into our blog and into our notification about our city
I know
council.
that.
But that's the purpose, you know, work session here.
I think it's a great idea, personally.
So are we discussing issues that would come up at the next council meeting, or are we discussing issues both with that and the open meeting for having next Monday? I mean, what's on the agenda?
For next Monday or for the city council meeting, it'll be the RFPs.
I mean, is this meeting here gonna cover both of those? You know, what we want to talk about at the public open house and what we're going to talk about at the next council meeting next.
No, we're not discussing the council meeting. What we're discussing tonight, after we get through this part, is we're gonna talk about what's gonna happen on Monday or two. Is it Monday? It is Monday. We had to move it. Monday of next week. And then by saying that it sounds good, what we can do is notice it when we have our city council meeting, and then we'll just have a half hour prior to the city council meeting where we discuss what is going to be on the council agenda. So our discussion is informed. We can hear what anyone's got to say about a subject if they're for or against it, but we don't have to make any decisions because we're going into the city council meeting.
Okay.
Isn't that what you were thinking, Dana?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
It's
All right.
proposing, like I said, I was just curious to see if that would be helpful to everybody else, or because it does seem like a lot of our meetings tend to go very late into the evening.
Okay,
I'd be happy to do whatever works best for staff.
okay. So we'll try it for a couple of months and come back to it on, what would that be? In June? And we'll decide if we want to keep doing it for the next fiscal year.
Okay, we'll figure out a way to notice those meetings and work with Peter on how to do that. And it's a common occurrence in other places, so yeah, we'll go ahead and give that a shot. So 6:30 be
Right,
the start time for a work session, 6:30 to 7. May or may not take that long. And then after that, the meeting starts at 7 or immediately after the end of the work session. If the work session takes a little bit longer, that way we can extend it.
right.
So that would probably be the best way to notice it.
Yes, as long as it's,
And it's open to the public, so encouraged to attend, but won't be speaking unless otherwise noticed.
right.
Okay?
All right, we're good on that then. Okay. I was wondering, there have been some complaints that the last one was 2 hours long and it was a little long.
The town hall meeting.
Town hall meeting. So what do you say that we make it no more than an hour and a half and leave the last 45 minutes to questions and answers? If that's what people, I mean, if they have that many questions and we have that many answers?
I think the problem with the last meeting was we asked the same question 5 or 6 different times. The same question in a different format. I think we should take all those 4 or 5 different times if it comes up again, consolidate it all down to just one question. Like, where do you want the fire station?
That could be a way to cut down on the repetitiveness of the question.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, by the time people were hearing the same question in a different form, about the 4th time they lost interest.
Probably, I'm not sure, but,
So we're gonna have voting again then?
I would like to see something from the voting. I'd like to see some questions that are general in nature. You know, if they've attended a previous town hall. What about an update to the comprehensive plan?
So you're saying that this town hall is not going to be limited then to just fire station, sorry, emergency building?
No, it's not.
topics? Okay, that'd be good. That would be good.
That way, with the 45 minutes at the end for questions and answers, we can get a more diverse response.
Right. So the first 45 minutes will be our presentation and the last 45 will be for questions and answers.
Right, and they can, you know, if we get through the questions faster, we just turn right around into question and answer period.
I think that's a good idea to talk about other things other than the emergency services.
Okay,
So,
what,
yes.
when we say our presentation, what are we talking about? Who's doing a presentation?
I don't know of anyone doing a presentation, but if we come up with some questions that are not repetitive or can be combined and combined so that the essence of each and everyone's question is close to what they were asking. That way we're not having, as Preston said, is repetitive questions. So does anyone think they can come up with some questions to deliver to Chad by Thursday? So he has time to.
Well, I'm going to propose, maybe I'm a little confused. I'm trying to imagine what you're imagining, and it's not, I'm not sure that we are all on the same page. I don't know that we all know what to expect. So we're going to have a town hall, and it's, I mean, to me, generally, you would present some information, and then you would have a series of questions asking them to give you feedback based on what you presented. For example, you would say, you know, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and it's red when it's here and it's yellow when it's there. Would you support, you know, maybe moving the sun to rising in the north or something like that? You know what I'm saying? It would be whatever you're presenting would tie into your questions. But I have a real fear that with the number of, we've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. We haven't had any town halls. Then we've had 2 town halls. We had a very good turnout for the first town hall, less turnout for the second town hall. And that's normally what you can expect, is that people start to get a little, I don't want to say apathetic, but they're less eager to join in the town halls, and you're going to end up with us just being white noise to them. I propose that we only do town halls when we have information to present to them, when we are not making, where we already know in advance what information we're going to present. And then when we're going to have follow-up questions that we need them to answer based on the information, the topic that we raise for the town hall.
So are you saying something that you want to cancel this one because we don't have any new information? Or don't, we have information. The reason
Well, I think we are working on some new info. I know that Preston and I, the same question, what I'm seeing popping up around the community, what I'm hearing a lot from people is that there are still some people that believe that instead of building a new station, what we need to do for the fire department is we need to combine with Seaside and just build a substation. I would propose that that would be our next topic, that we pick discussion up and we carry it through to its natural conclusion during a town hall. And I don't know that next week would be the optimal time to do it. It seems a little soon gathering information. Preston and I and Chad had a meeting with a very nice gentleman that is on the state's what was it, Chad? What was it's the
Small districts.
small districts board. Anyway, so we're gathering information, but you know, the people have been very clear that they don't want us going in there with half information or information that they can debunk. They want us to have good information for them. And so I don't think we should rush this next town hall. Personally, I think Preston and I should continue to develop the information that we've already started developing, and then work on a presentation to that we can have that discussion at a public level as far as what would that mean if we combined with Seaside. Could that even happen? Is Seaside even interested in that? And what implications would that have on our firehouse design and our control of our firehouse design? And how much would that cost? And what's the difference between a substation and a station, and all of those things? And then we can follow up with a series of questions to ask them, okay, do you still think we need to combine with Seaside? Do you, you know, in light of today, have you changed your mind about anything? Is there anything else that you would like to? And I do think that the next town hall needs to give them, we're getting to the point where we're giving them enough information that they need to start telling us what information they want to hear from us in the future. I don't know. What do you think?
Preston, do you think you could be ready by April to give a report like that on a substation?
My feeling is that in the next 15 years or 5 years or whatever it is, volunteerism is gonna be really difficult.
Yeah, you've said that. I'm asking, do you think you could be ready to give a report with Dana in April on that position?
We're talking about city council,
No, I'm talking about a town hall.
well, in April,
Yes,
sure.
be about the third week of April. Around the 21st or whatever is a Tuesday around the 21st.
If I was a Gearhart citizen, I would very much like to hear everything you just said, Dana. Because I would like to know what we're engaging in, what we're trying to do. Thoughts that we have, things we're going to ask. I would like to know all that as the process goes on.
So are you saying you think that's a good idea, or are you suggesting something different from what we were just discussing?
I'm suggesting that at this town hall we're supposed to have next week, that somebody, whoever, you, Chad, Preston, gets up and says everything you just said, so the public knows where we're headed, what we're thinking, what questions you guys are gonna ask in that small districts meeting, and that you are pursuing, at least question-wise, the idea of us being a substation and joining with Seaside. So that way, citizens know we're not just blowing off that idea.
Okay, well, so you're saying we have at this, we keep the next town hall meeting. If I'm hearing you right, you're saying we keep the next town hall meeting, and at that town hall meeting, we say, hey, we are exploring this avenue. What questions do you have? What questions would you like, would you like to have answered in this regard, so that we can, because okay.
Well, yes, all of that, and the questions that you brought up that you would be asking. Sure, of course. People
Right.
want to know that.
Right, no, I know that.
I think that way people wouldn't feel ignored.
Well,
So-
I don't think that they would feel ignored if, well, number one, we're having a public meeting at this moment discussing it, which is going to later be posted on social media and on our website. So they could go through what we talked about tonight and see that that's the direction that we are going. If that's in fact the direction that we decide to go tonight, or we start turning to. And I don't want to be the only one who's driving this bus, because this is, there's some talk on the social media, whatever, that this is a bus that Chad and I are driving. And that's causing me some concern, because I don't want this to, that's not the case. You and I both know that that's not the case, but I don't want that side argument to undermine the good work that we're doing here.
I absolutely agree with you, so maybe Preston could present that.
Present the questions that we're looking for.
Tell the pub, just everything Dana just said, tell the public, we're looking into this idea. Because we wanna look into all ideas, right?
Right.
And that you're going to have this meeting with the small districts guy. And you're gonna ask him A, B, C, D questions. And does the public, do you have any other questions you would like us to ask him?
I think, and this is probably just a shot in the dark, but I think the public would be more involved if they were able to ask questions of us before, like if we put out on the blog, what questions would you like to see answered about a merge with Seaside? And the public, if they could ask a question and that we could put out to the rest of the public, they might feel more involved. But I'd like some of the questions to come from the public.
I like that. So just to be clear with you, Sharon, number one, Preston, I'm sorry, Preston, am I talking over you?
No,
Okay, so just to be clear with you, Sharon, Preston and I and Chad already had the meeting with this gentleman and asked, and Chief Como was there also. We had a very, very good conversation, and we have opened up that door to where we can ask more questions. But so I think, again, I still have the concern that if we start having town halls constantly, we're going to get less and less attendance at the town halls. They're going to become old hat, and people are going to get bored with them very quickly. We're going to be overexposed on this issue, and they're going to be a little apathetic, and they're going to start relying on other sources for their information rather than us. I think personally, I like Rita's idea that let's introduce this on the blog. Just the same way that I did with my questions about the ODOT. How do you feel about the ODOT survey, please? And then I ended up getting, 30 or 40 emails that I respond to them all. Maybe we do type something up about this, put it on the blog and say, hey, we're preparing for the next town hall meeting. Why don't you tell us what you want to know at the next town hall meeting? And we'll start compiling the information, whether it's at the next town hall meeting or several town hall meetings down the road, where we're tailoring this to the information that you're looking for. That's going to help you make.
I agree with you. I think that's a great idea. The more ways that you can reach the public and the more input we can get from them, the better off we're gonna be, absolutely. But
Right.
Sometimes when you have a group of people in a real time, and say Preston, presented that and some of the questions that were asked, sometimes somebody's question over here might inspire somebody else's question over here. You know how it kind of works that way?
Right.
Like somebody will ask a question and somebody else will be like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And by the way, la da la. So I don't know. I'm kind of for both. I'll do whatever everybody wants.
And one of the excuse me, one of the questions I'd like to see put out there is, what else would you like the town hall to talk about other than the emergency services? Because they might say the comprehensive plan, they might say help, I don't know, but it should be nice to know what they want to talk about.
I thought that's what the town hall was all about.
What they'll.
It's for, no, it's for everybody to,
Yeah,
everybody to ask the questions
yeah,
that they want answers to from us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, somebody brings something up on this side of the room there, and then this person over here, like I said, Sharon, you know, thinks, oh, I hadn't thought about that. What about this? How does this affect that? You know, and so, I mean, you know, the more people that you can get in the discussion,
yeah.
the better off the citizenry is gonna feel about us trying to ram something down their throat.
Well, we're not trying to ram anything down anyone's
I'll tell you what,
throat, but
that's the feeling on the, you know, in the community. Is that we're just gonna try and do the same thing over again that you guys tried last time.
no, we're not.
You know, we gotta convince everybody of that.
That's right. And the only way you can do that is to talk to them.
Okay.
And tell them that isn't what we're going to do. What we're trying to do, I honestly believe we're trying to communicate and find out what people want. And then last, I don't know when it was, the city council meeting, I said something about education. And that set off some kind of whirlwind of comments. The reason I did that, do you remember what you said at the end of the meeting? You said, can someone tell me where the water's gonna come from?
That's exactly right.
And, you know, for me, that says I need to educate not only the council members about the situation that we're gonna face if we have a Cascadia subduction earthquake. And I also need to think about the 22% increase in the population since well, that was between 10 and,
20 census. The
Yeah.
2010 census and the 2020 census.
right. But then we've got the increase in people since the bond issue failed. And all those people are not, maybe not aware of the same things that we are. Rita and I, since we've been on the council so long. And if we need to do that, bring in experts and educate the people and the council for what we already know. That is what I was talking about, education. It's not re-educating everyone and telling them, well, this is why we need this.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I totally agree that we need to have a consultant, construction consultant. I totally agree. There's stuff out on the interweb that, you know, I mean, we're hiring 2 consultants that are costing the city a bunch of money and they spent $200,000 the last time. Well, the guy wants, you know, I mean, the only way that we're gonna be self-sufficient on water is if we get a guy to lobby the water master down there to tell him, you know, we need our own water.
That's right. That's why we gotta do what we're doing.
And the thing is that, you know, I mean, there was a guy that sat right here in this meeting, the last meeting, and he totally took what we were trying to discuss and totally flipped it 180 degrees.
That's right.
Yeah, but you know what though, you got to take that in context though. He put it out there to the world of 2,500 followers and he got a couple of likes. So we can't let the voices of the few drive the whole thing. We're here to serve all of the public, even
That's exactly right, Dan. I totally agree with that, but you know.
So we know, you know, I've seen the same questions. What has changed since the last time we went after water rights? Well, I'll tell you what, right now, what has changed since the last time we went out for water rights. Homelessness has grown. Housing is a need, a very big need. And the biggest difference is that the last time Warrenton was standing in front of us trying to block us from getting water rights. And now Warrenton is pushing us from behind because they need water. They need us to get off of their water rights more than we need to get off of their water rights because they have a lot of homes that they need to build. They need their water for. So it's about not only servicing us, but it's servicing our whole community. It's about being good partners with everybody and sharing water. So, but you and I both know that, and we just have to put on our armor and just go against it. If we see something like that getting traction, then we say something. But I'm not too worried about somebody beating me up and asking me how I want to be remembered. How do I want to be remembered? I don't even care if I am remembered. Just throw my ashes into the beach out here. I don't care. You know.
Okay.
Would it be appropriate to ask Josh his thoughts on this, or?
We're not allowing the public to speak, but he is an employee.
Right. Do you wanna weigh in on firehouse town halls? Andy, do you wanna weigh in on
About having them and not having them?
Mr. Whatever thoughts you have?
Yeah, I think coming in prepared with something to present to them. Is huge, that we're not saying that you're going in blind in the next meeting or whatever, but preparing. Some sort of presentation for them, whether that's steered from questions put up to the public ahead of time. Maybe you guys already have questions public, you guys talk to all sorts of people all the time. Maybe you can put one together from that, but having one that's directed, a theme around each town hall or whatever. Would be more tactful and more pointed, maybe help get more things done and accomplished. I don't think, even though in the past, all the town halls are available to talk to anything, I don't know if many other people realize that. I think they thought coming into it, the one focus was the public safety building. So that's probably why that was the main topic of the rest of them, was that, but I think that's great, I think it's a good format, 45-minute, whether it's presentation, discussion, and then same amount of time for questions answered
I mean,
afterwards.
do you have stuff that you would like to present that you haven't presented yet?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
And it is steered from the discussions, like from the meeting we had with the SBO guy and things, and if there's a general theme or something to educate the public on these things, we could frame that town hall around that one topic or discussion.
I mean, would you be prepared to present next week?
Next week's kind of tight.
It's too tight.
I think so. I think so. But it's this easy.
Andy, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I think from my point of view, it's great because I can sit there and I can pick out everyone's questions. And then I can find the answer, right? And that's been helpful, like, especially coming this is like, we talked about the grants and I was able to get the book, find the grants, do all the due diligence that I can do to try to get the correct answer to the public, right? The truthful answer. That's my big thing is I'll always find the truth, right? Regardless of who it benefits, unfortunately. So that's my big thing is I like to be able for them to ask questions and to know that they can ask questions. But I'm just along for the ride.
See, Dana, I think that's, that's kind of the way I am. I learn from people's questions. And I look into things because people have asked questions. And I think of new things because of what somebody said. I mean, that's kind of my process. So I don't know, I find it all beneficial.
Well,
I would like to hear from Chief Gregory, if he's got anything he wants to add to this.
Thank you, sir. I'm just kind of looking at this strategically. In the beginning, using the blog and posting some things, having these questions already ready to go, I understand. We can set the format, this is what we are going to be talking about in this town hall. Obviously, we're gonna be open to other things. Here are the questions we're gonna ask, we use that application that we have. They gotta be able to register, pre-register and answer those questions ahead of time. So we're already getting the feel of what the citizens want, and then we go ahead, that saves a lot of time. That's gonna save a lot of time out the front. We know what some of these answers are, they've had a couple days, 4 days, however long to register in, do their vote, and then we all meet and talk about it. Kind of seems like a way to save some time with me.
Okay. So you could be ready by April. You could, and you guys could be ready by April for your report on, what do you call it? Satellite.
Yeah, on whether, what the pros and cons of combining with Seaside would be? Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, do you, I don't want to speak for Preston.
He's joking.
I can be ready.
Giggling or choking?
Yeah,
He's
so
talking.
would you guys be able to make some kind of flash in the pan statement at the next town hall? And maybe we can go more into a question and answer period?
Yeah, I wouldn't make a statement. I guess we would do a presentation on the pros and the cons.
I'm not asking for something like in the April. Just something that people could be talking about.
Between now and April.
Right.
You're talking about to put out on the blog to generate questions.
I'm talking about on Tuesday, Monday,
Oh,
just saying something like a small, not a presentation, just this is what we're working on. And in April, we'll have the full report. And then we could go to questions and answers. And I don't believe that all the questions are going to be answerable.
sometimes they're not, and sometimes you have to be honest with people that it's too soon for us to, I mean, we're not gonna have engineering numbers, we're not gonna have a lot of information. What we're doing is gathering the information that helps us make a decision that is catering to what our citizens want. But I guess the question really is for Preston. Preston, do you feel comfortable with that? On Monday?
Right.
Do you still want town hall on Monday, or do you want to put it off?
No, I can come up with something on Monday.
Okay.
And then to inform the public about what they should be thinking about for the April meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, I can tell you right now what I think some of the questions are, what some of the questions that I've received. Just to throw some out there, is that some people are under the impression that that Seaside wants, that we could just combine with Seaside right now. That Seaside might be interested in combining with us. That if we combined with Seaside, that it would mean that we wouldn't have to build as big a station. So we'd have to talk about that. What type of a station would we need for police? What type of a station would we need for fire if we combined? I think staffing model would be another question we'd have to cover. What would that do to our deployment plan in the countywide? And how that might change things for everybody. What that would do to the Gearhart Rural Fire District. Yeah, I mean, those are some of the, if I was a citizen, those would be the questions that I would be asking.
So I already have a question since you said all that. My question is, would we just combine the fire department with Seaside, or would it be police and fire with Seaside?
Right.
Well, my question has come to me is, what is my tax burden going to be about this?
What does that do to your levies? Because they've got, yeah.
Also, at the April meeting, it would be helpful, but I don't know if Chief Como would have to weigh in on this. If someone from the Seaside Fire Department was there to, maybe they don't even want to merge with us. Maybe they don't want to do that. But it would be nice if he could answer questions from Seaside's end as opposed to just us saying, this is what we think. But that's just kind of a thing.
Go ahead.
So
It might take us to reach out to Seaside, because you know that there's going to be a political aspect there also. It's not just an organizational aspect. They don't get to make their own decisions over there. It would have to be, Seaside would have to vote out of their own district and agree to join our district, and all of their politicians would have to be in support of this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's something that he could speak to. Is Chris Dugan still there?
No, Duke with the state fire marshal's office.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Joey Dan was the fire chief.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's it.
I was just gonna say, on the police side of that question, I can tell you that the sheriff, I'm sure, and the chief and Chief Ham enjoy having their police departments. They yes, they understand the sense of community that it builds within the city, so.
And
I don't wanna put words into your mouth, but I don't think you signed on to be back in part of, I'm just guessing.
Well,
And from the fire side, I can say what I said last time. Joey said that Gearhart is their first backup. And Joey's also said he's not been given direction at all to merge until he's been given that direction from his city manager, he will not.
Yeah. Well, here's what I have said to people, and please correct me if this is it, please correct me if it's not right. I've said, you know what, I think Seaside has plenty to keep them busy.
The last 2 years, we had 244 mutual aid calls. 244 times we went to another district agency to help. Out of that 244, 111 alone was to Seaside. So we are already going to Seaside because they can't handle, I'm not saying they can't handle it because they get multiple calls, 2, 3 calls at a time. Super busy. Seaside is the busiest fire district in the county. They're busier than Astoria by about 200 calls a year.
And are the police busy?
extremely busy.
So why would they wanna take us on top of how busy they are? That doesn't compute with me.
And
Well-
it wouldn't negate the fact that we still have building or buildings, stations, 2 stations. So we right now have a problem with our physical plant structures. We need to replace our physical plant structures. To me, you're now then adding in personnel costs. We're already gonna have costs. Why do we add in more costs? That just, I know that someday we may have to look at that, but so those are the kinds of questions we have to ask. Why would we want to do it, and what would be a good timing to do that?
Well, I can tell you, with having lunch with Steve Wright, the mayor of Seaside, that they are tightening their belt this coming fiscal year because of money. And looking at it in a realistic point, it didn't sound as though they were interested in expanding their forces north from their city.
They might not be planning to extend or to merge with Gearhart. The immediate problem they're gonna have is with Hamlin. Okay, because Cannon Beach is not gonna take over Hamlin. Seaside's gonna take over Hamlin.
So right now, Chief Brackman is their interim fire chief for Hamlin. And they're working a plan that potentially what it could be is just like we have a district, Hamlin could be Cannon Beach's district. Is what's the,
Why would Cannon Beach,
that's a great question for Cannon Beach.
okay, why would Cannon Beach wanna come up and over the hill and go out Highway 26 all the way on up to, to the top of the hill? That is absolute asinine.
I think these questions are good. And this is the conversations that we need to have in front of some people as well. I mean, a little bit prepared. But I think one of the things that we're missing from the last election was people felt like we did all this background work. We had these discussions in the background and didn't bring them along. So I like what you folks are saying. I think everything that everybody's saying here is how do we bring people along with us to help us make these decisions? And if we could figure out a way to have these conversations in a town hall, we're pretty prepared. We're gonna ask lots of questions and talk about what some of the issues are, like we're talking about right now. At least then we're educating the people that are in front of us in front of town hall, where we're learning something as well. And that's the goal that we're trying to get to. Here in the long term, we've got this, potential of hiring an owner's representative that will then help us through this process, collect this information, do it publicly so everybody's coming along. And so when you go to make your decisions, maybe a little easier, better informed, and we've got the public at least informed. They may not agree, but they're at least informed. And so that's why this process is at this junction right now where we're trying to move forward, yet we don't quite have everything in place, but we're working on it. It's going to come to us here in this next city council meeting where we decide whether or not we hire this next person. And then from there, we start on this jumping off point. prior to getting to a needs assessment is what a lot of people kept asking us for during the last election process. Where's your needs assessment? Where is that? Why don't you have one? Where's your studies? Where's your data? Where's your information? And it was there, but it wasn't put in together in a real cohesive package for people to understand. If we can have these conversations and then move into a needs assessment, then people will be as satisfied as they can be. I understand there's some people asking now, as you pointed out, that why are you spending this money? Why are you asking these questions? Well, we learned a lot of things from this last time. We weren't quite prepared, and here we are preparing. So I don't have anything magic to say about how to get there, but I think you're on the right path. But bringing people along, I think, is the most important part of this, is from what I think I learned from the last election.
Okay. So we're gonna have a meeting on Tuesday, Monday, gosh darn it.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's where I'm stuck.
And,
Okay.
and so our agenda is going to be that,
You guys are gonna say something, Preston and you, or one or the other, or both of you, you're gonna, it's not, you know, half an hour long or anything like that, it's not just, you're investigating the satellite system.
Okay.
And we can have, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most.
Okay.
And then, you know, if a counselor has something they want to say, then they can do that afterward. And then we can go to question and answer.
Just open it up.
That's
But I like Rita's idea, maybe,
blogging it?
maybe
I'm
tomorrow.
not gonna blog it.
No, but you can come in and I'll
Come in and I'll do whatever you would like, Mayor.
talk to Christie about getting it on the blog.
I'll talk to Christie. Hey, Christie, let's talk. How's that?
Rita?
I've done my job.
Yes, you have.
Thank you,
Yep.
Christie.
some places for them to write down questions and submit them that night? Or
Yes.
tell them, submit them on the blob by X, you know, X date, and we'll work it into the next town hall. Okay,
Are-
We're gonna work it into, we're gonna do some of the blog now and work it into the next town meeting on next Monday.
Yeah, we're getting pretty tight there. but-
No kidding, we're getting real tight.
Oh,
It's electronic, it's okay.
at the town hall, let them write in questions, but also advise them, you've got, you know, 3 days, 10 days, whatever amount of days to submit more questions. And once we've compiled them all and have the answers, we'll schedule another town hall.
Which is gonna be in April.
April or we may have to go into May, depending on schedules and what we've got going on with budget.
Exposure on this.
we'll be in the budget season in
budget is
May.
May.
and
Yeah.
And
You're gonna
just
lose-
staff schedules.
April, we have a meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking around the 21st of April.
Yeah, that's a Sunday.
Okay, well then, you know, I'm willing to go to the 22nd. If it works.
We'll talk about some dates, yeah.
Yeah, that entire week is blocked off. That's the LOC conference week and other staff are out. I'm just looking at it right now.
You're going. Right, let me see.
You've got the League of Oregon Cities on.
Right, that's the
Friday.
24th, 25th, and 26th. So the 22nd,
Chad is out of the office though,
Yeah,
Chad's out of the office that whole week.
Yeah.
leading up to it.
the 22nd through the 25th and then and then till LOC conference.
Okay, so go backwards
15th, 16th, 17th, 18th.
on a Thursday then.
Thursday, the 18th is possible.
Okay. Is that possible for you, gentlemen?
At the Oregon Association's of Chiefs and Police Conference in Pendleton that day. Actually come back,
Let her buck.
Let her bug. That's my plan.
Well,
I could make it back potentially, was that a good 4.5 hour drive from here, 5 hours?
least
6, yeah, 5 to 6.
What's the reason that we can't work it out to, like May 6th through the 10th?
I'm not gonna be here at the 8th, 9th, 10th. And
What about-
11th and
Did you-
12th.
What about the 6th, which is a Monday? And by then, and here's the other thing is by then, we may not have a consultant who might even help guide us even more on this.
I think we have court that night.
Oh, okay. April 7th?
Well, if we miss Chief
Monday-
Gregory,
Monday, April
you know,
29th and
it's not
Tuesday.
gonna kill the whole thing, but, you know, on the 18th, it would be nice to have it.
And I can try to leave early too, and if not, maybe I can join online.
If it matters, I'm unavailable Thursday nights.
Who's not available?
That's Christie.
Okay, and when is your conference? It's the
Uh,
15th through the 18th?
Yes, sir. So it would be. I just don't know what the plan is on the last day. I come back on the 18th. It could be over at noon. I could leave early. That's not the end of the world, so.
Right, but Christie isn't gonna be here now.
The
Oh,
staff,
yeah.
the staff calendar looks good on Monday, the 29th and Tuesday, the 30th.
Both of those days look good for me also.
I'm going on Tuesday the 30th for Chiefs Conference.
But the 29th, you're here.
Yes.
The 29th?
I have no life, I'm always.
We're talking about April, right?
Yes.
April.
And then the 29th is on Monday.
Of April.
Okay,
That's looking quite possible.
all right. I can say that tentatively until I look at the calendar, I'm good.
Okay.
But we're still having it next Monday night.
Yes, we are having it
Okay.
Monday night.
We're gonna talk about what we're working on in regards to some of the ideas with combining what we've learned, what we know, what we don't know, and then open it up for questions.
Right. Questions on anything,
Directions.
not just the public safety building.
Okay.
Is everyone happy with that?
That's,
Do you want me to blog it out with a different flyer? Because the flyer that was put out last week specified public safety building and discussion centered around that.
we'll just add to that, but yeah, we'll probably have to redo that a little bit,
Yeah,
but it's still accurate. We're just adding another feature.
right. Does anyone else have anything to say about this? Well. All right. Meeting's over.
The worst session would be like that, I think it could be helpful, you know, the ones that want to be.
Recording stopped.